Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joe and Connor's Power Hour. This is Volume 4, and today we're going to be doing something a little different because we've primarily talked about DC Comics and stuff. We did Zack Snyder one week, but even that tied a lot into DC. We're leaving the comic book realm, and today we're going to talk about, I think, one of our favorite movie stars collectively, Jackie Chan. So,
Yep.
Joe, tell me about the first time you encountered Jackie Chan or when he kind of came onto your radar.
Well, I remember being a kid, and I remember just like seeing the My Adventures of Jackie Chan, and just like, and that cartoon really stood out to me. So then that's kind of how I first caught on to it, and then I started getting into his movies and everything. But I thought that was a great starting off point because the show was fun, but then also animated Jackie Chan, just something about that was really cool, and so it was a great start for him, I think.
Yeah, I remember when I was like probably 4 years old and that show would play a lot. 4 or 5 years old back in like 2001, 2002 area. I remember seeing it. I don't remember exactly when it ran. That's kind of my recollection. It could have been later, it could have been earlier, but I do remember watching it, I believe, on Kids WB,
Yep.
along with shows like The Batman and stuff. That like second animated Batman that came after the animated series.
Yeah.
And I remember liking it, but I think Jackie Chan kind of came to prominence for me. Like, obviously, I'd always watch those, like, Rush Hour movies and enjoyed them, and some of the American ones, which we'll talk more about later. But for me, I think Jackie Chan came to prominence when I really, like, delved into Bruce Lee's small filmography, and I started to learn, like, a lot about martial arts cinema, like the Shaw Brothers and stuff like that. And Jackie Chan is just one of those standout stars because he's kind of an everyman who can do extraordinary things. Like, he's a goofball, and he's not like Bruce Lee who's gonna flawlessly take out 20 people. He's gonna get his licks in,
Yeah.
but then he's gonna win at the end of the day. But he's gonna do some crazy shit along the way.
Yeah.
And that's what I always admired about Jackie Chan. And that's kind of my first instance. And I think at this point, Jackie Chan's one of my favorite, probably my favorite martial arts star, but also one of my favorite movie stars in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, so what, from a movie perspective, what's your favorite Jackie Chan movie? Let's hear it.
Ooh, Jackie Chan movie. There's so many good ones to choose from. I probably would say, I got my real like live action introduction to him in Forbidden Kingdom. So I remember that movie where
That's the one where they're with the Monkey King and all
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Isn't that Jet Li and Jackie
Yeah,
Chan?
yeah, Jet Li and Jackie Chan. And I
That
just
one's
remember
awesome.
that was when he really started to get into the Drunken
Oh.
Master stuff, and it just was.
I loved that
was
movie.
good. I also really, I really like, and this might be a hot take. This might not be great. If I had to, one Jackie Chan movie that stands out to me is I love his character in Karate Kid 2010.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love him as Mr. Han. I thought that was just great to see Jackie Chan come
Kind
to
of
this place
take
and
on
be a
that
master.
Mr. Miyagi role.
Yeah, but I feel like
And with the new Ninja Turtles, he also kind of takes on that Mr. Miyagi.
and I feel like
sensei
if I
role.
really feel like a movie that like for me resonates every time I watch it and still probably works for me, it's probably got to be any of the Rush Hours because I just think that chemistry with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker is just so good. Like it's hard to have a favorite Jackie Chan movie because they're outside of some of the modern stuff. All his old movies are just so good.
I mean, he has such a long and big filmography. I mean, I'm just going to name off some of the ones I've seen. I mean, Drunken Master
Love it.
is a classic.
Yep.
That really grew Jackie to prominence because it didn't seem like he was going to be a huge star. The studios weren't really banking on him, and they were looking for the next Bruce Lee through people like Bruce Lee, or I shouldn't say the next. Well, yeah, the next Bruce Lee is what they wanted. So they were trying like Bruce Lee and all these knockoffs, but it turned out what people wanted was something new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just in general, I think there's a lot of great movies. I mean, Drunken Master, Return of Drunken Master, Crime Story, I love the Police Story movies. He was in Enter the Dragon as an extra.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff, and I mean, that's what I really respect about Jackie Chan is his range and his ability to do a almost 60-year career. And you even watch him in like the new movie we watched, See Our Drunk View, coming out soon, but The Hidden Strike, and he's still doing crazy martial arts and stunts and stuff. And I mean, I guess following up, what's your favorite Jackie Chan stunt?
Ooh, stunts. I just love anything where he is like. One of the things I thought was great at the Rush Hour movies was just the acrobatics of everything. So seeing him jumping from places and doing these cool acrobatic kicks and whatever he could do. So I would probably say anything from like the Rush Hour movies, because there were such good stunts at the time when those movies had happened. Especially for the American movies. What something that you like is like you see Jackie Chan come in and he's doing all these Chinese movies, but you see when he does an American movie, when he was young enough, he would commit to making sure that if he wasn't making sure that the movie was done the way with as crazy stunts as he could, he had a stunt team that was making sure that it looked good. So like even when you go back to the Rush Hours, when he's hanging from a building and fighting a bunch of bad guys and they're shooting at him and he's grabbing whatever. One of the things I think Jackie Chan has over a lot of other martial arts actors is every martial arts actor is, okay, Bruce Lee can kick, he can punch, he can do all these cool things. Michael Jai White can kick, he can punch, he can do all these cool things. Scott Adkins can kick, he can punch, he can do all these cool things. But you have Jackie Chan, whenever he's in a room and whatever is in that room, like even though he can kick really high and is really acrobatic and really talented, his talents rely on adding comedy into his surroundings. Because there might be a chair that he's going to pick up and use. There might be a beer bottle he needs to smash someone over with. There might be like anything. Like he has the best improv skills as a martial artist because he knows where to use these skills and kind of go, okay, I need to take these skills and I need to elevate whatever I'm doing with it. This guy's got a gun. Oh, well, I can grab this pole over here and kind of use it like a bow staff and beat this guy. And I think that's kind of the thing is he knows when he's trapped in the box, he knows how to think outside the box to get out of the box. And I think that's great.
Yeah, no, and Jackie Chan, I mean, from the start, like, his first big star-making vessel was Drunken Master.
Yep.
And you look at a lot of his movies, and, I mean, he plays the more serious roles, like in Police Story, but even there, he has a comedic side.
Yep.
Jackie Chan's always been comedic, where Bruce Lee has always felt like this stone-cold, like, legendary figure.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about, I think Bruce Lee died before he could make a lot of schlock and add a lot of personality to himself. Jackie Chan's not afraid to be the butt of a joke, where I think Bruce Lee would be.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's to his benefit, especially when it turned out that Hollywood and China didn't want a new Bruce Lee. They wanted something different from their martial arts cinema. And I also think that's why people like, well, we have a lot of great martial artists like Donnie Yen and Jet Li. I mean, so many others that kind of fought for that Jackie Chan role. Jackie Chan has always kind of sat on top of the throne alongside Bruce Lee, I think.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Lee has had that feisty, cold as ice personality, where Jackie Chan just had the most personality of all the martial artists, and I think that's what set him above a lot of people. And he's just a great performer. I see a lot of like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin like physicality and like almost slapstickiness to his stuff. Like he does incredible stunts, and he'll do incredible stunts just for a slapstick joke. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's an impressive feat.
I agree.
I don't think that can be understated, that I do think Jackie Chan has he had and has kind of a different energy and aura to Bruce Lee, which I think is why they're kind of the two legends there's plenty of legends in martial arts cinema, but they're the two that are on the pedestal.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
the two that I walk down the street and lift up a picture of them, and grandma can say this is Bruce Lee and this is Jackie Chan.
Yep.
And I think he's really earned that legendary status of number one or number two best like martial artists in cinema.
Agreed.
I gotta ask, how much do you know of like his days of like when he was working in Thailand or Taiwan and kind of doing like these movies as favors for triads? They're kind of his like underground, passed around on bootleg VHS movies.
I do know about a few of them because that was where he really started to like develop more into like the martial arts. Like it was really like you had your slapstick and you had all of your other different type of Jackie Chan stuff that made Jackie Chan different. But those underground movies was really where you got to focus on his martial arts style. Because you might study multiple martial arts, but like each of these martial artists have a style that is unique to something that they are the most prominent in. Like if you look at Donnie Yen is prominent in Wing Chun Kung Fu. That is his big thing. And he carries that now. All his movie roles, everything he does. If you see Bruce Lee did Kung Fu, he did a bunch of other things, but Bruce Lee is most associated with the martial art that he created, which is Jeet Kune Do. And so they're all kind of associated with this thing that they're really good at. There's people nowadays, they're this style Shotokan karate, or there's a different style of karate, or there's different style of taekwondo, different things, and they all have this thing. And so you have Jackie Chan, he was kind of like still developing what his martial arts was going to be. Like he did a little bit of Kung Fu, he did some karate, he did whatever he could pretty much learn. And so I think that with those underground movies, they really got to dive into kind of what that could look like.
Well, I mean, he worked with the Chinese opera a lot.
Yep.
Coming up, or he was in the Chinese opera, which was kind of his tough upbringing. So it's very different than your traditional, I'm trained by a sensei and this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
He was essentially in like a martial arts and performing sweatshop. And I think that's kind of an interesting upbringing. And you look at a lot of those like underground movies, like I think a standout for me is Fantasy Mission Force.
Yeah.
It's not the most popular movie, but it's a fun one. Jackie Chan kind of is in almost like, the best way to describe it in modern terms is like martial arts meets The Expendables.
Yeah.
Where it's a ragtag group of people who are sent on a mission essentially to die.
Yep.
Or almost like a Suicide Squad type of thing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you have that same era where he's doing like police. The next era is kind of when he was doing like Police Story and Crime Story and stuff like that. I really love like 70s and 80s Jackie Chan because this is kind of his peak physicality and peak stardom. So he's just flexing stunts like it's nobody's business. Like he's hanging off the back of buses. He's jumping through chandeliers. You look up Jackie Chan stunts. Most of these are pulled from the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
Jackie Chan. What's your favorite kind of movie from that earlier era of Jackie Chan?
Earlier era. I'm trying to think because that was one of those like ones with the earlier era that there were so many good classics.
Right.
I probably would say either the first or the second Police Story because I think that those movies are just so iconic, I think that's the best way to do it.
I think both of the Police Stories are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there's now multiple Police Stories. I've seen 1, 2, 4, and 5, I believe. But I think there's a 6th and a 3rd I haven't seen. I do own First Strike. I think that's an interesting era because I think that's when Jackie Chan was at his most like physical, and he's kind of at the top of his stardom, and he really perfected his shtick at that point that he uses to this day in even like his DTV movies like Hit and Strike. Let's pivot a little bit. What do you think of like his animated roles? Because I know you haven't seen Ninja Turtles yet, but you're familiar with his roles in like Kung Fu Panda and stuff.
Yeah, so I loved him in Kung Fu Panda as like Master Monkey because it combined the idea that he was in a movie introducing the whole Monkey King concept and the fact that he was going to play like a master in Kung Fu that was a monkey wielding a bow staff and kind of just doing things. That was a great role for him to be in. And the Kung Fu Panda movies, if you guys are like looking for like an animated, like just fun take on something fun, I know they're doing a new one right now, I think too, that will probably come out in the next couple of years. It might even be this year. It's really fun to have that because Jackie Chan, that's a movie where Jackie Chan gets to kind of show, even though since it's animated, there's a lot of things you can do with it because it's like, oh, it's animation, so you can do all the things with Jackie Chan, but now he's enhanced by being a monkey. So like he can kick, he can punch, but he's a monkey. Like now he's got the tail to swing on and like to do, and so that was really cool. So I love his animated stuff. Like even just like Kung Fu Panda's great. Seeing him in his own animated show was great. I'm excited. When I heard that he was gonna be Splinter in the new Ninja Turtles, I was very excited because that's a big IP to be a part of, and Jackie Chan is a big star, so it's good for him to be in something. And I can see him, especially after playing Master Han, it's good for him to be Splinter. I think that fits.
And I think it's a good way for him to kind of express himself and do the strong characters that Jackie Chan can play and kind of get that physicality he can't really get being whatever he is, 75 years old at this point, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like the character can still do Jackie's crazy stunts and live out his style. I don't think it perfectly landed in the new Ninja Turtles, if I'm being honest. I've seen it, not you, but I do think Jackie was fun in it, and I think Splinter's a good role for him. And I also think it didn't take it in the natural Splinter way. It was a little bit different than your normal Splinter, which you might like, you might hate.
Yeah, I heard they made some changes to the lore a bit that are not that great received. So I'm curious to see, just because I'm a big like Kevin Eastman, like I'm worried because I've seen like I always get worried when there's a new iteration of Ninja Turtles because I was like I have like the Cowabunga collection of like the old school Turtles games. I have the Kevin Eastman run of the comics. Like,
do you have that physically or digitally?
For the game.
No, for the comics.
I have the digital ones. I need a physical copy.
That's
of
what
those.
I was thinking of. I couldn't remember when we were talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
I would love to do an episode where it's general Turtles talk, but we mostly talk about the original like 20-ish comics.
I would love to talk about Turtles because as much as I can talk about Star Wars and talk about all these different things all days, Turtles were my bread and butter when I was a kid. Like I walked around when I was like everyone was like, oh, being a Power Ranger is super cool. I was into Power Rangers a little bit, but I walked around in the neighborhood with my Leonardo katanas and my blue bandana. And for Turtles, when I see...
Which one did you grow up on, the 2004?
I started on... So my dad was big into Turtles. So I got into the... I watched the 80s cartoon first.
Oh, sure.
And then, whenever people ask me about, like, what's your favorite era of Turtles, what do you think is the thing that really connects you? And I feel like even the live action things don't fall into full comparison like Kevin Eastman stuff, except for one. There's one iterations of Turtles that matches up with the Kevin Eastman run, which I think is the 2003 era. I think the 2003 era of Turtles is the best era of Turtles because it was... Mikey was funny when he was meant to be. There was jokes with certain characters, but it was still dark.
Yeah, and I grew up on Turtles, and I even had the Turtle Van growing up.
So when I was a kid, I was so mad because my mom sold all my stuff, but I had the lair. So I had the lair, the van. 2003 era was my comfort zone for Turtles, so I had everything Turtles. I had the weapons, I had all the vehicles, I had every Turtle, all different iterations of them. Turtles in their like outfits with the skates and just so yeah, we can definitely go for Turtles for a while because I love Turtles. Like I'm playing all the Turtles games this week, getting in and watching all the movies. So I'm gonna do just a little shout out to you guys. I'm gonna be making when I see the new Turtles movie. If I think the movie sucks or if I like the movie, I'm going to be literally, as a Turtles fan, I'm going to go into a comparison of how it resonates with me to the new Turtles based on the old Turtles stuff. Because for me, I still think, outside of the original Turtles, I think the 2007 Turtles movie, the CGI animated one that was doing cool CGI animation before Spider-Verse 1, that is still my favorite Turtles movie. I saw that movie in theaters, And I think that movie just it works because you don't have Shredder and stuff in there, but the villains they have great voice casts in there. You have Patrick Stewart in there as the main villain. You have this whole storyline,
Right.
and the plot for a Turtles movie is really good because what I love about that movie is it's a continuation of the 2003 series. So Leo goes away and goes training to become another leader, and all the Turtles kind of have to fend for themselves. Like they have to get jobs. They're not out there kicking butt, but Raph's kind of out there like Red Hood, running around at night, going and kicking crime, and just that movie's awesome. Like if you guys haven't seen Turtles 2007, watch that movie for sure.
I still haven't picked it up. I tried to pick it up at the thrift store the other day to watch it before this movie came out, but there were 2 copies, and I opened them both and checked the discs, and one was scratched to shit, unwatchable.
That's too bad.
And the other one was a DVD copy of Secret of the Ooze.
Well, it really sucks.
It wasn't even the right fucking movie
sucks.
in the case. But I already own Secret of the Ooze.
It sucks that happened because because there is one of the best things about that. If you watch all the different Turtles movies and even the cartoons, we always get like Raph and Leo always get into like debates, and it always goes into a like state of like, okay, hey, you're my brother. We're gonna come to terms with everything. Everything's gonna be fine. That's the only iteration of Turtles that I can think of where Leo and Raph get into a debate where it actually leads into a fight. Like they really fight in that movie, and it's awesome. Like
I would love so I guess like trying to pivot back to Jackie Chan a little bit.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when you saw that Jackie Chan was announced for Turtles?
I was excited. I was excited because I was like, so when the thing that really sucks is when I heard about this Ninja Turtles movie was coming out, I was really excited because after the Michael Bay-esque movies they've had, I knew we needed a new Turtles movie. And I was excited hearing it was going to be animated. And then the more I heard about the movie like being Mutant and Mayhem, and the more I heard and the more trailers I saw, I've been excited, but I've been very hesitant. And I was getting really, I do this thing where when a movie comes out, the closer we get to the movie, I get really excited for the movie. And then I hear something from someone about like, even if a movie gets really good reviews, I get really skeptical. And then I start to talk to people about my friends that are really close. Like, okay, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I really hope I like the movie at least because,
I'm saying form your own opinion on it. Cause
yeah.
I think a lot of it was, for me, I was just kind of overwhelmed with the amount of stuff in the movie.
Right.
And I just felt like it was so much potential. And nothing was, and there was a lot of wasted time. There was so many ideas that were here and gone. But I could also see you really enjoying the movie. So don't take my review to heart and think, I don't hate the movie. I think it's well done. Stylistically, I think there's things I would change.
Yeah, it's all good. That lens fell out. I'll fix it again.
Stylistically, there's things I would change. But I think it's an alright movie. I don't think it's bad. 2.5 on Letterboxd for me is an okay.
Yeah, it should still be. Yeah, I think it will still turn out pretty good. The only thing I'm worried about is like I read something about the lore changes, and I didn't read what they were. But I always get really concerned when you get a new version of something. I just hope they didn't change too many things that like really change the experience of Ninja Turtles. Each of the new iterations, I feel like they changed things, and they've never always been good changes.
I think this movie is in the spirit of the original comics with the lore changes.
That's good. So they are good
However, they're not all for the better. I think part of it is that they were trying to keep away from Shredder as much as possible. I think it was a very conscious choice to say, let's not make Shredder the villain right away.
But I think
like Shredder's coming for sure.
Yeah, I think they're
building
building
up
up
to it. I didn't watch the end credits or anything because I had to piss. But
yeah,
I'm sure Shredder's coming in the second or third movie. I'm sure they're planning a trilogy.
Right.
But I think,
yeah, I heard they were doing
at an arm's length.
Yeah, I heard they were doing a trilogy, and also apparently because they do Paramount Plus and stuff. Apparently they're doing some sort of like animated show on there too.
That's a good idea.
So that's interesting. So we'll see what they do.
I wouldn't mind. It's kind of hard without spoiling it, but I almost wouldn't mind a Ninja Turtles sitcom.
That'd be kind of fun.
I'll keep it at that. But if you at the end of the movie, I feel like they could set up a fun Ninja Turtles sitcom, not an action show. Keep it cheap in this style, but like a comedy sitcom with the Ninja Turtles. I think would be kind of interesting. I don't think you run it too long, but maybe just a season or two. Like, intentionally make it so it's like, we're going to give you one mini series, 8 episodes, like, Ninja Turtles sitcom.
Yeah, one of my things.
I think we definitely come back to this in our Ninja Turtles episode because I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah.
And nothing I said was a spoiler. I don't think you'll catch on to what happens in the movie based on what I've said.
Right.
But I think, especially with how the Turtles are left at the end of the movie, a sitcom Ninja Turtles could be really fun and funny.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's great.
Anyways, pivoting back to Jackie Chan, I want to talk a bit about his American era.
Yeah.
What's your favorite American Jackie Chan movie? So I'm talking like Rush Hour, Shanghai Noon, Around the World in 80 Days. Out of those types of movies he kind of was making in the 90s when Jackie took over America, so to speak. What's your favorite? I
love my soft spot for. So I love Around the World in 80 Days. That was a classic, very different Jackie Chan movie than what you're normally used to, which I thought was really unique. But I really gotta go. It's a toss up between the two. But I've never been able to, like. So people are always like, "What's your favorite Rush Hour movie?" I can never pick a favorite of the Rush Hour movies because I think all 3 of them equally on their own trilogy. They're all good and they all deliver on what you want.
I grew up on 3. I thought 3 was like the funniest movie ever with great action and stuff.
Oh, I still think 3's great. Like, I think if I had to pick between all 3 of them, I would pick 3. But I think they're all good. Right. I think for me, it's a toss between 3 and Shanghai Noon because for me, the thing with Shanghai Noon that I love is you're taking like we talked about how Jackie Chan can do it all and it's different.
Right.
See, like if you're watching Rush Hour, you're still kind of getting that buddy cop type of thing. But if you're watching Shanghai Noon, you're getting a Western with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson. And
you can't beat that.
You can't. Like, no matter how many times I watch that movie, I love that movie. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, oh, Shanghai Noon just...
Oh, man, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I love all 5 of those movies. The Rush Hour trilogy and the Shanghai duology.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard. Hard question I mounted.
Yeah.
But I think for nostalgia's sake, I would say Rush Hour 3.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at it realistically, I think Rush Hour 1 has better stunts. I think the Rush Hour trilogy, kick-ass trilogy.
It is a kick-ass trilogy. It's near perfect. There is not a single bad movie in that trilogy. They're all great, and it just works.
Oh, yeah. I guess, like, as a follow-up question, because we're talking about the American films, and I think America kind of has, in the American films, Jackie's always bouncing off an American actor. So who's your favorite American actor he bounces off of? Owen Wilson? I guess you can include John Cena these days.
Yeah.
Or Chris Tucker.
Well, I would say...
If your dream Jackie Chan movie comes out tomorrow, and he has to team up with one American actor, who do you put beside him?
For me personally, even though I would really want to see because of the movie we watched wasn't great, I would love to see a proper do-over with John Cena and Jackie Chan. But I think if you look at the chemistry that everyone has, I would probably pick another movie. It could be a Rush Hour 4. It could be another non-related movie. I think Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker just have the best chemistry. And I could watch 100 movies with those two. Like they could make a movie about the two of them working at a restaurant, and I would watch it. Like they could remake Good Burger with Jackie Chan
that would be funny,
and Chris Tucker.
Just messing around.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting concept I thought of. What if Bruce Lee didn't pass away before Jackie Chan's time, and they were able to make a police story like Good Cop, Bad Cop movie with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan?
It would probably be one of the greatest movies of all time because I think...
That'd be awesome.
Because
that's just what I thought of. I was like, what if they made because Jackie Chan he's a great cop, but he's kind of incompetent sometimes, and he fucks up. What if you had like a strict by the books Bruce Lee who's just kick-ass martial arts and stuntman working alongside Jackie Chan.
I think that would be awesome.
Like the missed potential of that duo is just.
I would have loved to see that. I mean, it would have been really sad because it would have been so cool to see what that would have looked like.
I'm glad they shared the screen, but it's just sad that it was before Jackie's time, really. So Jackie was there, but he was kind of just a background guy.
I agree.
I mean,
here's my question. Since on the topic of Jackie Chan, so we talk about Jackie Chan. You know, he may be in his 70s, but you know, some of these dudes, they live very long lives, and there's so many cool things going on. We talk about like how cool it is to see him in other things with American stuff, and the fact that he stepped into something like Karate Kid into his timeline in a whole new reboot. Right. Do you think there's? I mean, obviously now he's been in Kung Fu Panda. He's been Splinter, whether it's live action or animated. Do you see Jackie Chan stepping up into another big franchise and just kind of being he's a highlight in this big franchise because you're so surprised to see him? Like, is there something you would have personally wanted to see him join?
I mean, I wouldn't mind him coming back to the Karate Kid franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it and it just makes a lot of sense. Like the Jaden Smith one, it made sense, but that movie was hit or miss.
There are rumors.
I would love to see him show up and and I don't really watch Cobra Kai, but I would totally check it out if they made a new movie where it's like the Cobra Kai guys meet up with the reboot guys.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, they talked about that they want to keep the universes separate, but there might be, money always talks, so there's probably a way that they could change that situation. I feel like personally, I know there's some rumors going around that Sony was after. I think they're shooting. Before the writer's strike happened, they were in the middle of filming the final season of Cobra Kai, which would be season 6. But Sony, who's been expanding the brand since Cobra Kai has been doing so good, they also were trying to make a Karate Kid movie that was going to be released in theaters again. And it was said it wasn't going to be anything to do with the Cobra Kai stuff. So it wasn't going to be Daniel LaRusso. It wasn't going to be Johnny Lawrence. It was going to, but it was also never said to be about Jaden Smith's characters. It was supposed to be all new stuff. And then they talked about that there was a rumor, I don't know how legit it's been said, but they was saying that even if it doesn't include Jaden Smith, that somehow they're going to find a way to incorporate Mr. Han in it again.
That'd be cool.
So you could see Jackie Chan return to those roots, and he could be since we're never going to get another chance of seeing Miyagi again, it'd be cool to have him kind of mentor a new student and just kind of, I kind of like the idea of Jackie Chan being someone's master, and just his idea of him just kind of slapping the shit out of his student after he's not listening to him, and just I don't know, that sort of slapstick just works for me.
I'll tell you what, I just thought of another episode idea.
What's that?
We binge the Karate Kid 5 movies together.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to keep me up to snuff on Cobra Kai. I don't think we got
time
for
that, what I could do is, I know they sell the DVD copies of Cobra Kai. I could pick up the DVD copies, because what we could do, realistically what I would do, because I think it's important to watch the story as it goes into the universe.
Right.
We should do an episode where we watch Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and then of course the Julie Pierce one. Yeah, the next one.
Is that what it's called? Next Generation or Next Kid?
I think it's the next Karate Kid or something.
Oh yeah, it's the next Karate Kid.
So it's the next student. Right. And so if you watch those and then you watch Cobra Kai, everything kind of falls together. Because Cobra Kai is only 10 episodes per season.
Right.
So it's doable. It's definitely possible. Even if we watch just a couple episodes, whatever, each week or whatever, and then build up to it, we could do it. It's definitely possible. And it would be great.
I'd love to do an episode on the Karate Kid.
It would be great.
I think if we do it, we gotta watch the Jaden Smith one.
Oh, we'll include it.
Not because it's great or anything.
Just because Jackie Chan.
I remember seeing the Jaden Smith one in theaters and thinking it was a blast as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
But everybody hates on it, so I don't expect to like it as an adult.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm curious to rewatch it.
Here's the thing. I have a personal, and I made a video about this a long time ago. I have a personal vendetta as an adult against that movie now, because Hollywood has this thing where if something sells, they keep the brand of something to continue to, because if it sells tickets, they're going to keep using it, right? So my biggest issue is when they did the first 3 Karate Kid movies, all the characters in Karate Kid are all going to dojos and they're all training in karate. There is no other martial arts included, and if there is, it all still falls under the umbrella of martial arts, which requires into karate. So now, as someone who has been practicing karate for almost 2 years, when I look at Karate Kid 2010, and it's basically the Kung Fu Kid, it just, it kind of, it hurts the brand, because it's like, why would you continue to call it Karate Kid? Because then you set the expectation for the general audience, oh, this guy's doing karate, look at this. But karate doesn't have, like, all these, like, crazy, like, we have blocks and we have strikes and kicks, but we don't have, like, Kung Fu's very, what's the word?
Offensive?
Yeah, we have offensive techniques too, but it's like, a lot of Kung Fu is there's some kicks in there, but Kung Fu is a lot of hand movements. Like, they do strikes, but they do a lot of blocks and strikes, and that's their main, like, meat and potatoes of, like, how they do their things. Where karate is, like, combination. So, like, So, like, in karate, I'm not just throwing a punch. I'm throwing a kick at the end of the punch. Or I'm throwing a punch, then a kick. It's a combination. Where with Kung Fu, it's like, okay, I'm going to do boom, boom, I'm going to block with my hands, block, hit you, slap your hands away, and then do something at the end of it. So it's very different. So I would love them to see, like, revisiting that's going to be interesting, because, like, I just have to accept in my mind that I know that when they made this movie, they were just trying to continue to sell the karate brand because they knew it sold. And they're like, oh, we slap Karate Kid on it, anybody will go watch it. Which turned out to be true. It just, I think a lot of people aren't too happy about that nowadays, because when you watch, the crane kick is a real move in karate. Like, it's not used the same ways as, like, they use it in the movie, but it does exist. I've actually learned how to do it and how it works, and it's so to me it's just so interesting that, like, with that movie, when I was a kid, I enjoyed it. First of all, I love anything Jackie Chan was in. I loved seeing Jackie Chan as a sensei, and then getting to, like, I like Jaden Smith. I was interested to see his kind of journey, and, like, this felt very different enough from the Karate Kid, but it was also, like, I don't know, something about it was different to me. And maybe as an adult, maybe we'll rewatch it and we'll look at it like, okay, this is better than I expected, but maybe we'll also kind of realize, because I recently, as we've gotten closer to Cobra Kai and everything, I went and rewatched all the original. I didn't rewatch the Jaden Smith one yet, so I got to redo that. But I rewatched 1 through 4, heading into, I think it was the 3rd or 4th season of Cobra Kai, because they were starting to bring in more of the original characters in. And so I wanted a better understanding of who these characters are post-80s to who they are now. And so I went and rewatched the movies. And I watched Karate Kid 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 are absolutely flawless. Like, they are, like, some of the, like, best, like, the first movie, great nostalgic 80s trip, fun time, great. 2 is, like, both emotional, but has great action scenes as well. Like, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of stuff you find about Mr. Miyagi, a lot of things that really, like, resonate with the whole thing, and it works. And then 3, a lot of people crap on 3, but I think 3 only works because Terry Silver is just such a good character, and that's why I think 3 works. Is you in 1 and 2, Kreese is there, but you don't really have a villain that really drives the story forward. Where 3, they had Mike Barnes and Silver, and that really, and some of the one-liners in that one are great. Like, I always loved Mike Barnes beating the crap out of Daniel. Your karate's a joke. You're gonna meet me by the dojo tomorrow. just him beating him up was great. And they called him the bad boy of karate. So I have good memories of those first 3 because of how they've been able to elevate it now too.
Right.
And something you'll appreciate.
I agree.
So I think it's great. Like, I think you'll really get a kick out of Cobra Kai because you'll see how these characters have, like, kind of, they go kind of through a transition. I've talked about Cobra Kai is what the Star Wars sequel trilogy should be. Like, you see Daniel, Johnny, Chosen, Mike, and Silver and Kreese. You see them, they're different than how we saw them. Like, you get to see them go through an arc, but they're still the same.
Right.
But, like, there's things that change. So, like, it's interesting, like, people, when they saw, like, the continuation of Cobra Kai, Karate Kid to Cobra Kai, you look at, like, Cobra Kai and you're like, okay, this is going to be the continuation. I can't wait to see who Daniel's married to and what Daniel's story is. But you watch Cobra Kai and you understand that you can just shoot. They want you to kind of decide who you think was really the bully of the situation in the original movie, but you see Johnny in a way that you never saw him in Karate Kid.
Yeah, I've heard it's great. Really interesting.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's great. Yeah,
I'm excited to watch it. Okay, we can do a Karate Kid episode. We got a few episode ideas. So we're chopping down. We're figuring it out.
This is what's fun about this, guys. You guys get to hear all our cool ideas live in capacity. But we'll pivot back. But we'll pivot back to Jackie Chan because I think there's probably a few more. Unless you have any wrap up thoughts that you wanted to add to it.
Well, I guess let me ask you something. An idea I was kind of thinking of while we were talking about Karate Kid.
Yeah.
What would you like to see Jackie Chan in next? I know he's getting older, but where do you hope Jackie Chan takes his career? You know, I know obviously he's in a lot of DTVs, but if you could cast Jackie Chan in any movie you wanted, what would it be?
I want to see Jackie Chan and it has to be with the right director. It has to be with the right script. But I've said this before. I've been meaning to make a video on it, and I think I still will make a video on it. They had the Jackie Chan stunt team in Shang-Chi, and that bus fight scene was so well done. Not because they trained the actor who played Shang-Chi to be this amazing martial artist, because they had the stunt team from Jackie Chan do all the things that Jackie Chan did. Like, you watch that fight scene, the jacket flip, all the bars being pulled off of the bus and him using it as a weapon. Those are all moves that Jackie Chan did in his movies. So for me, I know they're eventually going to do a Shang-Chi 2. I don't know if it would be for a Shang-Chi 2 or a Shang-Chi 3. But I think the Shang-Chi brand is the perfect opportunity to bring in Jackie Chan as, like, how cool would it be if, like, I've said that Shang-Chi was the best new character in the newer MCU, and I couldn't wait to see where he ends up next. So imagine maybe they build up the next, maybe you have like a triad type Shang-Chi like storyline, and maybe Jackie Chan is a triad like mafia boss, and you have Jackie Chan facing off against Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Jackie Chan played a hero role too.
Yeah, a hero role would be cool.
It would appeal to like the Chinese audience and stuff.
At his age, with the despite him being older, I think they could make it around. They could make it work. How would you feel, even though he'd be older and he'd be older than probably most of the other Marvel characters? Do you think they could make him the Iron Fist for the MCU and have him still like, because they have all these effects now, so they could still have him like do the glowing fist, and even though he's older. We got stunt doubles, we got other things, there's other ways they could make it work. But how cool would it be for him to be a main player like that? Like, for him to become a new pillar of the MCU? Because in the comics, Iron Fist is one of the best martial artists in the entire Marvel Universe.
Right.
Jackie Chan's one of the best martial artists in the world right now. So, if they had him play someone like Iron Fist, I think that would be pretty cool. And maybe...
I don't know about Iron Fist, but I wouldn't mind seeing him play like an older martial artist or some sort of.
You know what? I got it because they've been rebooting everything. He should be the new Stick.
That'd be cool,
right? So you have Daredevil and then you could have him like maybe Daredevil needs some more guidance from Stick, and then one day maybe even Daredevil bored again, maybe whatever it ends up being, I don't know. Maybe it could be another project. Maybe it's in Spider-Man 4, and he's just coming up as a cameo. And Daredevil gets a visit from Stick, and you just see this fight scene where he's not happy to see him, and they're fighting, and then all of a sudden he realizes who he is, and
I wouldn't mind if he pulled up as just an original character in Shang-Chi, because I do think Shang-Chi took a ton of liberties from the comics.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't mind if they're like, oh, Shang-Chi's grandpa is Jackie Chan. Why not?
Well, yeah, his dad.
Give him some rings.
His dad was the Mandarin,
or he could be the guy who formed the rings. Be some like immortal dude who created the rings, and he's like, "Those are mine, bro." And
I just think the fact, like, as much as it would be cool, I
wouldn't mind him in Marvel.
I think the idea of him being like I think the thing with him is like you talk about like him being a hero would be cool, but we've seen the hero thing so often. So I think to see him be a villain and to be something in like Shang-Chi where they could really let him do. Like, it wouldn't just be a CGI cast. They could actually let him have a little fun with it.
Here's my thing. I think a lot of these big stars can play villains.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, he's at his peak when he's on that funny shtick. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how convincing it would be if he had the Jackie Chan personality in a villain role.
But I think that's the thing. I think he's such a good,
Or
talented...
you think he has the range?
I think he's got the range. I think he could pull it off. I think Jackie Chan, if the money... I think the saying would be, if the money's right, I think he would do it. So I think if it's a big enough project, and maybe, like, the thing is that you got to think about is, like, if you got these stunt guys to do Shang-Chi 1, they're probably going to come back for Shang-Chi 2 and 3, whatever it is, right? And so if you get that same stunt team to come back, and that stunt team, you know, they know Jackie Chan. The director, I can't remember what his name is, but I think he's also going to do Kang Dynasty. He might go over to the stunt team like, hey, can you get Jackie Chan for us? And then they can have a conversation and decide about what that role is going to be. And as long as I think that Jackie Chan gets a lot of creative control over what his character is and how Jackie Chan should be, I think that will make a great character. So yeah, I think that I'd love to see him in some more big things. I think I personally don't think I'll ever get the wish, because I think it's genius, but I don't see it ever happening unless. So here's something we can talk about in a minute. Since the director was that did this other movie we watched today, Hidden Strike, is going to do the new Expendables movie. And since you talked about that they could spin this into a new trilogy of movies, so say we can't get Jackie Chan in movie 1, but maybe movie 2 or 3, you could see Jackie Chan appear.
That'd be fun.
Because they had, and maybe it doesn't even need to be a big role, because in Expendables 2, they had Chuck Norris just pop up for a couple scenes, and it was great to see him just kind of there. And maybe that's what we need. I just think the Expendables is, with all these older actors just kicking ass and taking names and doing these great things, I would want to see Jackie Chan get to join that legacy, because he's in that category of these old legends. He should be able to be a part of that experience. Because now they're bringing in people that, like, are legends, but they're not, like I never would have thought they brought in 50 Cent. Like, when I heard in the new trailer, like, what is 50 Cent doing in an Expendables?
Why not?
Like, everyone else is... I mean, they had Wesley Snipes in 3, so I guess...
You know what I would guess, especially with Jason Statham and Megan Fox kind of thirst trapping, I bet they're going for...
With the younger audience
I think they're trying to reach for a younger audience.
Well, I hope they don't do... I hope they don't do what they did in 3, where in 3 they tried to... They tried really hard to get the young audience in, so they brought in... what's her name? Ronda Rousey, and they had, like, a bunch of really young cats, so, like Chris Hemsworth lookalikes to try to, like, build in the new people, bring them in. And then the older actors ended up... They had the thing where they were kind of getting pushed to the side, and then Statham kind of took the reins and was kind of like, oh, no, that's not happening. And it worked for the story, but at the same time, it was kind of... If you're going to push towards the younger generation, I still hope that the younger generation can appreciate these iconic legends. Because to me, like, you have Statham in things like Fast and the Furious and Hobbs and Shaw and all these other cool things, but Statham doesn't have, since Transporter, Statham hasn't, and the Mechanic, I guess, and I guess the Meg.
He's had starring roles, but he doesn't have a big franchise.
He needs something that's all his, and I think in Expendables, like him leading a team of Expendables, the man is great. That's got to be a great goal. And like we talk about Jackie Chan. I think just with the fact both of us are martial arts fans, we should have other episodes of other different, like, martial artists. I'd love like looking at the background, especially because I love Statham. Like I have a lot of things to say about Jackie Chan, but I think with Statham, you talk about range. Statham can do it all. Like, you got, like, sometimes he's in something like Wrath of Man, which we both enjoyed, where he's this crazy mobster. Doesn't even have to be in a lot of action scenes, but he's just, like, playing this Black Mask role of just, like, he's insane, and it just works. So it's like,
Speaking of Black Mask, I'd love to see Jason Statham as Black Mask.
I want to see that. I
think that's the type of role that might be able to seduce him into a superhero project.
It's gotta be. I think that he would be perfect for that. I really do think that that's the role that he's born to play. I hope that they could get him to seduce. Like, now that they're starting to redo the Batman universe, that would be such a cool call. Like, if James Gunn's like, hey, Jason Statham, and maybe what they'll do is maybe, like, so I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this in the trailer, but since you're gonna see the Meg tomorrow, I noticed this new Meg that Statham is, like, in the first movie. Statham's doing a lot of running, he's doing a lot of throwing things.
Right.
But it looks like in this new one, he's bringing a lot more of his martial arts prowess to deal with the shark.
Hey, you know what? If Statham wants to beat the shit out of a shark with martial arts, I'm with it.
I'm into it too. I'm into
it.
That means we're one step closer to one of my dream comic book panels becoming a reality. I still want that. You've ever seen the comic book panel of 1970s Batman punching the shark?
Yeah.
We gotta get it one day. I just want a Batman movie where somehow maybe it's an Aquaman adventure, maybe it's a solo Batman movie. Some reason Batman's in the water and he's fighting a shark. And don't make it like King Shark where it's like I just want a legitimate shark is attacking Batman in the water. And maybe Batman can't find his shark repellent and he's out of options and he's just duking out.
Kicking ass.
Yes, on a shark. I've always wanted to see that. Something about that idea just is always like, it's so silly and so crazy, but it just works. So yeah, I think I'm excited for things like that. I think Jackie Chan getting a big role, like getting to be in something like Expendables or anything else that's also kind of big, like joining Marvel would be cool. Like, I mean, as these actors are getting older, they should be able to capitalize on these big things. I mean, I think it's cool that they're still doing like animated stuff, but I mean, I would like if you're up there in that age and you can still act and still do things. I mean, look at Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton came back to play Batman and he's like 60 something. So I mean, anything's possible at this point.
Right.
So I think Jackie Chan still got a couple big roles back in him. Like, yes, I would love to see him. I personally want to see him return back to his roots. I want to see him in another movie from like his past. Like, I'm waiting for the sequels of the things that he made that were so good. So like, I'm waiting for the next Shanghai Noon, or I'm waiting for the next Rush Hour. But if he gets the call to a big IP and they got something for him that sounds promising, I'm not against him joining a big franchise. And just as long as he's doing something that I think is entertainment and is selling people on it and making it fun, I think it would be great.
I agree.
So but personally, I if I got my wish, I just want the next version of his best franchises just getting a sequel.
Another sequel. Get one more Police Story. Get one more Drunken Master.
Because that's the thing when
you know what would be awesome?
What would be awesome?
A reboot of Drunken Master. Round out his career, because his whole thing in Drunken Master is he's a young gun, and some guy's like, "You should become a Drunken Master." He's like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" and then he becomes a Drunken Master.
Right.
So what if we got a new movie where he's this old guy who's like drunk and he's walking around doing all this crazy kung fu, and some kid comes up to him and is like, "I need some help. I'm getting beat up by the bullies. I'm getting beat down by the street thugs. Get beat up by every which way, getting robbed on my way to work." And he's like, "Bro, take some booze. I'll teach you how to do it."
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I would like
even
that.
like I said, like maybe like another Police Story. Oh man, I mean I love Jackie Chan. I've watched so much Jackie Chan. I just think he's such a fun actor overall. Like, he has the charisma. He always kind of plays Jackie Chan in every movie. I won't say he's the master of range, but you almost don't need it. Like, when I see a Jackie Chan movie, I'm there for Jackie. I'm not there because I care about the story. I hate to say it. And I love when he bounces off of other people. Like, when I see a movie, there aren't many actors who sells me on a movie just because they're there, but Jackie Chan manages for me.
Do you have an underrated Jackie Chan movie that people like, that people might shit on or might say is good, that you just absolutely think is so good? Like, is there
one that I think is kind of underrated?
Yeah.
That is a great question.
I don't mind because I feel like I've had this one for a while since I've watched it.
What do you think?
I think The Foreigner is underrated. I love The Foreigner.
The Foreigner is great.
Yeah, I love that one.
Jackie Chan's a little clunky in it, but I mean, for his age, he's not bad.
Yeah, I think he gets to do what you would expect him to do.
And I love Martin Campbell because, I mean, I'm a big James Bond fan, too.
Yeah.
And you got GoldenEye and Casino Royale, two of the best Bond movies.
I can't wait for us to...
Bond reboots.
I can't wait to do that episode, too, because we talked about doing James Bond. Because I'm excited, because then we can talk about... We can rank, like, the James Bonds and, like, who we think are, like, the best that have played James Bond. And then we can also talk about, like, who do we think out of the candidates that people have talked about should be the new Bond, should be the new Bond. I think that would be really exciting.
I have tons of ideas. We're talking about a Toxic Avenger episode. We're talking about a Bond episode. Yeah. Star Wars, I think we've agreed, is up next.
Yeah, we're doing next.
We got lots of plans. We look forward to every Wednesday.
I got some big stuff. I got some big stuff for Star Wars next week. Next week's gonna be very juicy. Be fun.
I think there's a lot to talk about for Star Wars.
Yep.
I think since it's our first Star Wars episode, we should give some general Star Wars stuff, like maybe our rankings.
We're gonna do our rankings. We're gonna do our rankings, and we're gonna talk about.
We'll go through everything. I think the primary focus is those 3 new movies that are.
Yeah, I think next week what we'll do is I'm gonna rewatch all 8, I guess 9 movies, including I guess technically with the spin-offs it's like 10 or whatever.
It's I think there's 12 movies.
Yeah, I think it's 12. So
1, 2, 3. Solo, Rogue One. Oh, it's 11.
Yeah, so I'm going to rewatch all those this weekend, and then that way I'll have my finalized ranking. And then once I have my finalized ranking, then we'll discuss our ranking together and see how our vary, and then discuss it. And then also we'll talk about those 3 movies, because there was an update about those 3 movies that might have changed that's kind of interesting. So I heard yesterday that they might be swapping Mando Season 4 for Dave Filoni's movie instead. Because apparently with Mando Season 3 not performing well, and with the writer's strike going on, it doesn't sound like they're gonna wanna do another season of a television show if they're not gonna make the money that they're getting for it.
So Season 4 might be.
They might be making it into. They said Ahsoka Season 2 and Mando Season 4 might just be built into Dave Filoni's movie. Like, so those characters being prominent.
Because we'll talk more about this. We'll talk more. Let's save it for next week.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
I think that's the movie we'll talk about the most. But I do really have a lot of interesting thoughts and theories on all 3.
Yep.
And I'm excited to kind of share generalized. Because this channel, NTMA, started out a lot with Star Wars stuff, but I got kind of burnt out by everything, so I don't talk Star Wars that much.
So what I do
I think we'll have a fun time.
So what's fun is so for you guys as a final thing, before we wrap on Jackie Chan, if you guys haven't checked out my YouTube channel, I have one of the rare YouTube channels where I started primarily. I made my YouTube channel on the fact that I wanted to be able to give you guys. I remember the experience of watching Mandalorian Season 2 when COVID started. And when you get the end of the episodes, and you had Book of Boba Fett coming out, and you had and then you had the Luke Skywalker moment, and I just remember almost like bawling my eyes out and freaking out and losing my mind.
Right.
And I remember I built my channel on the fact I want people to be able to see me freak out about these things, and so I built the channel first on. It started with Star Wars. It was about after I think I started the channel. I reviewed the sequel trilogy, and I was super upset about it.
Right.
And I think those were some of my early reviews, but they weren't getting super crazy views right away. And then when I really dived into it, it was right when I had watched Mando Season 2, and I gave my reviews for things, told people kind of my thoughts on them, but I wanted to kind of give my feelings on it and just kind of be able to discuss Star Wars with people, because I've known all my life, out of everything I know the most about Star Wars, and I have on the really bad Star Wars things I have a lot to say, on the really good Star Wars things I have a lot to say, so I just kind of built it on that. But over time, with Star Wars, with Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 3 not being very good, bits of Andor and issues, I kind of have not talked about Star Wars as much as I normally do, so I've been kind of trying to come up with creative forms of Star Wars content and just kind of building around that, and then do other topics. So my channel is kind of really cool, because sometimes it's like a mystery box. Some days you never know what you're gonna get. Some days I might do a video on something Marvel that interests me. I know the trailer for Loki Season 2 came out, so I put a video out for that, I think yesterday.
Is Jonathan Majors in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised.
I am too. So that's one of the things I was going to talk to you about too. Is it looks like
I didn't watch the trailers. I'm not watching the Disney Plus anything anymore. I'm done with Disney Plus.
That's fair. It looks like it's actually going to see. It's fun that you're at, and that's something we'll talk about next week too. It's interesting that you're done with Disney Plus, because I think Ahsoka is going to make Disney Plus worth watching again. Because,
I hope so.
Because I'm dropping. I filmed it, but I haven't dropped it yet. But when you guys, before these videos come out, I'll be dropping something I recorded yesterday for you guys, where there's a new thing that came out about the bios. StarWars.com dropped character bios for the 4 new villains of the Ahsoka show. And I did a video about how interesting it is that these characters are going to fit in.
Sure.
And they're going to be the most interesting Star Wars characters for villains that we've had in a long time, because none of these characters are Sith, but they have roots to the dark side that make them interesting. So like you have these two people that are survivors of Order 66. One played by Ray Stevenson, who passed away, and then his apprentice Shin, and they're like Dark Jedi. And Dave Filoni, since they're Dark Jedi and not Sith, they didn't fully bleed their crystals, so they have orange lightsabers instead of red lightsabers. Cool. And then you have there's an Inquisitor, but all the Inquisitors have been wiped out because they were a part of Vader's army. But supposedly this Inquisitor is a mercenary that serves Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah. And there's a couple theories about who this mercenary is going to be that I made a video about. If you like
Ahsoka, I'll pirate it.
Yeah, that's worth it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna pay for Disney Plus again.
I do my watch parties. So realistically, especially with my apartment being big enough, if I really like Ahsoka and I binge all over it, we'll have a watch party at my house where you can come over and we'll watch Sweet. It on my 4K TV. So yeah, we'll definitely we'll talk about
hit me up. Maybe I'll come over and watch the episodes. Join in on the watch parties.
Because I think what I'm gonna do is I can usually tell if the first 2 episodes, because they're dropping the first 2, I think the 23rd you get both. What I heard is usually with most of these Disney Plus shows, if these first 2 episodes are amazing, then I think the rest of the show will be amazing. Because a lot of these Disney Plus shows, with Obi-Wan, the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan weren't very good. The first 2 episodes of most of the season of Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons, they were pretty good.
I couldn't get enough over the first season.
Yeah.
The first season of Mandalorian, it was like, come on, be next week already, so I can keep watching.
That's what
Season 2 was okay, and then Season 3, I was like, I have to... Like, a new episode would come out, and I'd groan and go, I have to watch another episode of Mandalorian.
I think the thing that sucked with Season 2 was just, it was really good when the really cool characters from all of Star Wars lore were coming in, and then when they had these little stupid side adventures, then it was like, what are we doing? But yeah, no, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna have some cool stuff. So
we'll have a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, next week we're gonna talk a lot about Star Wars, because I have a lot to talk about. We're gonna do our rankings. We're gonna talk about favorite characters in Star Wars, like why we think that some of these characters should get more attention than what they do.
Definitely our experience with Star Wars, like how we got introduced.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited about it because I have a really good Star Wars story.
It'll be fun.
I kind of have a testimony Star Wars story.
I'm sure we'll talk. I'm sure we'll have episodes about Star Wars here and there.
Yep.
But this will kind of be our inaugural episode. Soon we also have episodes coming up on Toxic Avenger, Green Arrow.
Yep, absolutely.
Lots of stuff. So if you like this podcast, subscribe to both NTMA Productions and Yoda Joe 93.
Yes, sir.
We posted on both. Watch it on either.
Yep.
We're just trying to get this podcast off the ground, and I think it's been going pretty good so far.
Yeah, we've been doing good. We really enjoyed doing this
for what it is, for our channel sizes and stuff. So it's been
stuff.
Fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun for sure.
All right, do you have anything to say before we sign off today?
No, I think we're good.
All right, guys. We'll see you next Thursday, I should say. We record these on Wednesday. They're out on Thursday, so we'll see you guys next Thursday for our big first Star Wars episode of the Joe and Connor Power Hour.
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll catch you next week.
Yep.